some time. They might have a lot of questions from time to time. And I would like you, all of you, to help each other out, like we've been doing in the past five days. Okay? Okay? So that's what we do. We pick each other up. Right? We're going to do this together. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, another announcement is that tomorrow the shuttle that were taking you off from the venue is going to stop the sign up for the shuttle for tomorrow's leaving. Okay, it's going to be stopped at 12:30. So if you haven't signed up for the shuttles, please go to administration before 12:30. If you want to sign up or you that is. And I have an announcement from the auction. Okay. Please. Oh, okay. Then I'll do it first. Okay. So yesterday we had friends auction. Okay.
Okay, we need to explain more about what we say yesterday without dancing this time. It's very few people donate yesterday. We need that every one of you, we beg that every one of you donate something. You can donate something to the auction, and you can donate between $1,000 to $5,000 a year. This is very important that the people that organize this event don't lose money. So if every one of you can donate what he wants, he can donate shoes, shirts, anything, or put 1,000 and 5,000 until 5,000 here. So, and today in 7 o'clock in the evening, we have, how we call it? Auction. And now, Cecilia wants to say something.
The auction will happen at 7 o'clock here, right here, before we have the open mic. So we need lots of things in this box. Evelyn gave us this today, so I'm putting it in the box. So anybody that's got anything to auction, please give it so that we can fill up this box. Wow. Maybe we'll auction the dog. Anybody want a dog? 1,000. Yeah. And you can see we've got a chart. Yesterday, this is the APDEC tree out of the special lake. And the water is coming up the tree. So we need to get here. Well, we need to get here. Yeah. So we've got a way to go. But thank you to everybody so far. Yeah. It doesn't matter how small, something small, anything, you know. Yes. So, okay. Yeah. All right. We've got to dance. Come on. Okay.
To this side.
Hey, once again, if you are new to here today, if you have questions, you can look for the people with the tag. That's our staff. We will help you. We will try to help to answer your question. However, since we have a large number of people here, especially for today and tomorrow, we would like you to try to be patient with us because there might be a lot of people asking questions at the same time. Thank you. Okay, we have a very special speaker for Taiwan.
Hi.
The book A.S.Neill wrote highly influenced the beginning of the alternative education in Taiwan. Even until today, there's still not a whole lot of boarding democratic school exists. But that was the way how I was brought up. So, please welcome Mr. Henry Readhead.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hi, everybody. Excellent. Brilliant. It's funny, every time I do a conference like this, whenever people give me a microphone, because normally I'm involved with music, and I do performance. Whoa, whoa. So normally when people give me a microphone, I'm going, hey, everybody! Oh, yeah! So, but this time, this is not happening. No. No. Okay, so a few things. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be here. Summerhill has had pupils from Eastern Asia for over 40 years. We've had many pupils from Taiwan, from Korea, from Japan. We now have many from mainland as well. And so to be able to speak at the first APDEC is a real pleasure for us, for myself, but from Summerhill School as well. So thank you. The other thing is, I just want to say a quick, well, just amazing to the people who performed. Were you guys here? It was amazing. Phoenix, your band is amazing. But also the young musician who was doing the magic, he just blew my mind. He wasn't pretending, it was magic. It was real magic. So, okay. Okay, so first of all, can I just have a show of hands of people who have heard of Summerhill School? If you have heard of Summerhill School. Okay, cool. Everybody. Pretty much. Now, the subject of Summerhill School is a very, very big subject. And so today I'm going to be talking about the benefits of boarding. I'm going to be focusing mainly on two elements. One of them is social and emotional development. And the other one is community life. But what I'm going to do is I'm having a question and answers workshop at 3 o'clock in workshop 5. And this is so that if you have any questions, because people always have lots of questions, then please come and join me in the question and answers session at 3 o'clock in workshop 5. So just quickly to introduce myself, my name is Henry Readhead. I'm the grandson of A.S.Neill. I was a pupil at Summerhill from the age of 3 years old up to 16 years old. I then left the school. When I left Summerhill, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career. I hadn't made my decision. So I worked locally as a builder. And I then started to study music, specifically music technology. I returned to Summerhill in 1999 because there was a court case because the government was trying to close Summerhill School. This is not good. Luckily enough, we won the court case. That's why I'm standing here today. Thank you. I then returned to Summerhill as a teacher to teach music technology in 2002. And I have been there ever since. I am now much more involved with actually running Summerhill School, helping to run Summerhill School. So first of all, I'll just talk a little bit about the man himself, A.S.Neill. I'm sure you all know he's crazy. He's crazy. A.S.Neill is the founder of Summerhill School. Summerhill School is the oldest children's democracy in the world. Summerhill School is 95 years old. 5 more years and we're going to be 100 years old. How awesome is that? Thank you, thank you. A.S.Neill believed in educating the whole child. Academic achievement at Summerhill is very, very important. But it is not the most important thing. We're developing all the time. We're trying to learn about who we are. And actually, sorry, I'm going to stop from there. 1 second, sorry. Okay. Giving children back their childhood. Having time to play and be children is so important for development. Focusing education on the individual. We are all different. If you look around the room, you'll notice that everybody looks completely different. We are different in every way. Our emotional patterns, our learning, the way we develop, the way we learn. But I'm also going to connect with that, the way and the time that we need to find out what we want to do. At Summerhill, what is classed as, I'm just going to talk to you about what is classed as success at Summerhill. Success is marked as in as long as you find out what you want to do in your life, that is what is most important. Whether you're going to be a space scientist, whether you're going to be a doctor, whether you're going to be a professional musician, whether you're going to just work in a bar, the important thing is you have to find what you want to do in life. But also that there's no set time that you should find this. We're not trying to find it when we're young. Okay, so this now leads on to the first main part of what I'm talking about here. Social and emotional development. The individual's social and emotional development at Summerhill is our fundamental aim. It's essential. The most important thing from our side is for people to understand who they are and to learn how to live with other people. Understanding who we are and how to live with others is the most important thing. Social and emotional development happens at Summerhill from the very first day a child arrives until they graduate and move on. The emotional connections that we're having with other people is happening all the time. When the child first comes, they're meeting new people. It's vital for children to be able to experience all of these emotions, whether they're positive emotions or whether they're negative emotions. This is how you learn about who you are. And Summerhill creates an environment where this can happen freely. Having conflicts within children always will create conflicts. It happens all the time. The important thing is to have a system so that the children can solve their conflicts. That we don't rely on adults or other things to solve the problem. It happens purely through experience. We don't set up situations where people will learn certain emotional experiences or social experiences. It happens through living. It's funny, when I think back to myself, when I was a pupil at Summerhill, I didn't even know that I was learning these things. In fact, when I left Summerhill, I was leaving and going, so what did I get from Summerhill? I didn't know. I was very happy, and I had a really happy childhood, but I didn't know what I had gained. I had just gained these things. I'll tell you another quick story about that I was doing a talk in London, and an ex-pupil came to the talk, and there was a question that was asked by the audience for me. And the pupil, he was a Japanese pupil, he had left maybe 15 years. He put up his hand and said, "Oh, can I answer this question?" And I was like, "Yeah, excellent." a pupil of Summerhill is going to answer the question. And he answered it totally wrong. He had no idea. And at the end, he actually now is a prospective parent. So he has a little boy who's going to start coming to Summerhill. So he came to Summerhill as a prospective parent. And we showed him around as if he was a parent, not as if he was a pupil. And he said the experience was mind-blowing. He was suddenly learning about what Summerhill does. He was at Summerhill, but he just still had no idea. It's about just learning. It's about just living it and just living your life. Yeah, so social emotional development, another quick point here. It's not a part of education. It's a part of life. It's a part of living. And especially in the boarding school, we can supply this all the time because they're living there all the time. This absolutely comes first. Summerhill is designed as such so that it doesn't get in the way. A.S.Neill, first of all, was looking at the child. And he was thinking about what the child needs. And he was creating a system for the child. We have children at Summerhill from the age of 6 years old up to 17 years old. They all have very different needs in the community. An example of this is if you're 6 years old, we have a law about, we have a trampoline at Summerhill. The trampoline is so much fun. It is so popular. But we have a law at Summerhill to say that if a child wants to go on the trampoline and there's someone else already bouncing on the trampoline, the person who's bouncing only has 5 minutes. So then this child can have a go, so that it's fair. Now, this often, there'll be someone who'll just keep bouncing. Yeah? They need to be able to solve this conflict. The child wants to have a go, the person just keeps bouncing. So they can just go to the meeting. I'm going to bring you up. They take the case to the meeting. In the meeting, we solve this very quickly. There's not much discussion. There's nothing about whether the person is bad or good. It's just not okay. You can't do it. So we'll maybe they'll get maybe a fine to say don't do it again. The important thing is for the child to be able to solve the problem quickly and easily without any stress. Simple. I want to use a trampoline in 5 minutes. And he said, no, that's not okay. This is my rights. Making sure that the process is really simple. It's designed for children. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple of points that I just want to talk about social emotional development in a boarding school. So first of all, where you live and where you go to school become the same place. This is why we can focus on social emotional development so much. Because we have children who live at the school. When I talk about Summerhill, I often like to talk about it as a children's community. We are a school, and we have lessons, and we have the opportunity to learn all the time. But we're living there. We sleep there. All the time, everything is connected. All the time is what's happening in the school. Another really important element of this, and this is sometimes people can get a little bit angry about this idea, but we see that if you are focusing education on the individual and you want to get the best individual development, it's a good thing for them to come away from their parents. When a child is away from their parents, everything is all by themselves. They're making their own decisions. They're learning everything, and they're not relying on their parents to be making the decisions all the time. This is something that we see as being a really important thing. I'll just quickly explain that our terms are quite long. They're about 2 months long. So the child comes away from their parents for 2 months or so. And during this time, it's not always easy. Kids get homesick. Parents get child sick. I want to see my children. No. But this process is a really important thing. When you're learning how to understand yourself, it's really important to experience this, to give you self-confidence, to build your independence. I have to just check my notes occasionally because I forget things. Yeah, the connection at home, the emotional connection at home, it's very easy to get into emotional habits with parents, between children and parents. There can be lots of conflicts. There can be some amazingly powerful, wonderful connections. The connection between your parents is one of the biggest bonds, but there can also be a lot of very negative connections that can happen too. And so this is why it's really important to break that and to give a child time to be on their own, to have no connection. Another thing about this, just quickly I'll talk about, is about understanding our boundaries. We all have our boundaries of what is okay and what isn't okay. If there is a child who is 6 years old, and I'm sitting there eating my lunch, and the child is climbing all over me, I don't want that. I'm eating my lunch. Go away. This is my boundary. I don't want you to do that. It's quite simple. It's not aggressive. It's not negative. I just don't want you to do it. I'm eating my lunch. Yeah? It's a simple way of thinking, but learning about other people's boundaries and learning about your own boundaries, it's actually quite, it's actually, when you think about it yourself, what do you put up with? Especially with children. Oh, they're so cute. They can do anything. No. Yeah? Children are always pushing each other's boundaries as part of learning. It's such an important thing to be able to do. During play, during learning, during social situations, all the time, people are pushing each other's boundaries. Summerhill gives so much time for this to be able to happen because there's so much time there. This leads on to the next point. At Summerhill, social time is not battling with learning time. In a day school, children may come to the school at 9 o'clock, and they may leave at, say, 3 o'clock. If it's a democratic school, then often the children might have the choice whether they go to lessons or not. Sometimes lessons at schools are compulsory, sometimes they're not compulsory. But in a day school, the children, if that's the situation, they have to choose between going to lessons or having social time. At Summerhill, there's no competition, because social time happens 24 hours a day. In fact, sometimes we have too much social time. Sometimes we get really bored. Oh, fuck it. What am I going to do? Oh, so bored. Yeah? Again, these are really important things about learning about who we are and how to do things and how to live our lives. Social situations or social emotional development happens so much during social times. But I want to point out as well of the importance of positive social times and negative. The negative is okay as well. The whole point of Summerhill and the structure of Summerhill being so simple, it means that the school is just there to support this social interaction that's happening and supporting them. But the fact that negative stuff is happening, it's a vital part of development for us, all of us as humans. Okay, so I'm just going to start talking a little bit about community life. An average day at Summerhill. So average day at 8 o'clock in the morning, the pupils will all get woken up by the Beddies officers. The Beddies officers are kind of like the bedtime police. They're really scary. They're armed with fines. So if you don't get up in the morning, they can give you 10%. 10% of your pocket money. So you have the children have pocket money at the school, and so they'll get 10% fine of their pocket money if they don't wake up in the morning. But we also have other fines as well. We have work fines, so that children might have to do a 20-minute work fine. The most popular one at the moment is screen ban. Yes! Because all children want to be playing computer games. And what you can do is you can give them 24-hour screen ban. Yes! They're not allowed to look at screens for 24 hours. Yes! It's so effective. Excellent. I recommend it to any school. So, we then have breakfast time that runs from the same time. Our lessons start at 9:30. Sorry, I got that wrong. Our lessons start at 9 o'clock. We have a very structured timetable, lesson timetable in Summerhill. So you can learn all the normal subjects, the normal academic subjects. The difference is you can choose whether you go or not. And that's all the whole time whilst you're at Summerhill. We then have break time at 11 o'clock. We then start lessons again at 11:20. This goes up to 12:40 where we have lunch. We then have lessons again from 1:40 through to 3 o'clock. From 3 o'clock, it's pretty much social time. From then until night time, your bedtime, you can do whatever you want to do. Sometimes we'll organize lots of fun events. People will play football or people, all sorts of things. But this time is classed as being a social time. We also have our meetings from 3 o'clock as well. A big change, obviously, being a boarding school, you have a bedroom. It seems quite a simple thing, but actually, the connection between children when you're actually living in a room with other children, it's actually a really important thing that you have to be able to do. It's not always easy. Sometimes you're living in a room with someone who you don't like. Sometimes you're living in a room with lots of great friends. Either way, this bond that is being made is a really powerful, it's really important experience to have. It's also about having control of your area as well. So it's your bedroom. You can chuck people out of your bedroom. Not other people who live in your bedroom, obviously. Get out. No. Yeah, so if I go into a child's bedroom and if they don't want me there, they can just say, Henry, get out. All right then, fine. All the time. It can be great fun having a bedroom. But also, oh wait, sorry, no, I've just realized have I missed something? Sorry. You have a bedtime, sorry. So this is about the policing. We have the Betty's officers who go around, who are really responsible. They're the older kids, and they go around and they put everybody to bed. The best thing about bedtime is what happens after lights out. Yes! You can sneak out. It's so much fun. People in day schools will never understand the feeling of breaking laws and having Betty's officers chase after you and try and catch you and put you back in bed. Yes! Oh my God. All my best memories all happen after lights out. So much fun. I did get fined a lot as well, though. I'm not saying that if your kids come to Summerhill, they should all sneak out. I'm not promoting this idea. So much fun. Okay, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm just missing where I am now. Oh, yeah. So after and during school, there's so much time for socializing. We have social rooms. We have 12 acres of land. We have open spaces, open learning spaces where you can go anytime and just start making stuff. You can do it by yourself, or if there's access to a teacher as well, if you want access to a teacher. The art room, the music room, and the woodwork are all open spaces, so you can access them anytime you want to. Time to yourself. There's a story, I just want to tell a story quickly. I lived at Summerhill, on the actual grounds of Summerhill. I lived above the music studio. And this kind of connects to the size of the school, I guess. But I was cooking one night, and I looked out the window, and there was a little boy who was 6 years old, around 6 years old. Now, this little boy had no idea that I was looking at him. There was no one else there at all. There was no adults. There was no other children. This child was just on their own. They were in a world of fantasy. I know that you all know this world. This world is one of the most magical things to me. This world of Lord of the Rings, this world of killing dragons, this world of... They were living out their fantasies. I don't know what he was doing. He was running around. He had a sword or something, and he was... I don't know. I mean, this guy, I felt safe. I felt like if there was any monsters coming, he was killing all of them. But what I liked about this was that there was nothing. No one knew about it. There was no one monitoring it. There was no setting up of a learning environment. There was no anything at all. It was just a child on their own living their fantasies. And this is something that is eternally valuable for children. And it's a weird way of saying it, but I love the fact that there was no parents there. I just thought this child is just purely on their own, doing what they want to do. And it was amazing. Just to have that situation, to be able to do that with children is really valuable. Yeah, kind of connecting to what I was saying earlier about the time to be bored. At Summerhill, we don't necessarily see boredom as such a negative thing. It's a negative thing, but it's really important for people to experience it and to learn by it. Boredom fuels enthusiasm. I'm really bored. It fuels creativity. It helps people, when... Nowadays, I'm now 39 years old, I kind of wish that I could be bored. Life is it's that feeling of being bored. Whenever a kid sits next to me at Summerhill and says, God, I'm so bored, I go, God, you're so lucky. What do you mean you're so bored? And then I'm, oh God, I'm really bored. But it almost shows the dynamic of that. It's really important that they can be really bored. They get really excited. They'll use their creativity. They'll be hugely busy as well. But the fact that they can be bored, they have the time to be bored as well, is really valuable. Cool. Another quick thing I'll mention on this is about social. Many social games happen at Summerhill all the time. They've kind of developed, I think, very much to do with the fact that they live there all the time and probably fueled a lot by boredom. We have so many games that we have created as a community that the kids have created. It came up in a workshop yesterday, but I must talk to you quickly about the murder game. Yeah, Robert, I know you like this one. There's a game called the murder game. Now, what you do is you have 4 or so murderers, and you have 2 police and 1 undercover, and the rest of the people are all normal people. And the murderers kill normal people by touching the bottom of their foot. Don't worry, it's not a violent game. We're not killing children. Don't worry. Not much. So you kill someone by touching the bottom of their foot. This game can run on for days. We had to create all of these really funny laws about it. Because when we first created the game, children were running downtown into the local town. And the murderers were running after them and going, I'm going to kill you. And we suddenly realized the town, they didn't understand what was going on. So we had to create a law to say the game doesn't count if you go downtown. But this was the same in lessons as well, because whilst they were having lessons, then they would go, you're dead. And they're like, no, I'm learning, you can't kill me now. So there was a law created so you can't kill people during this. But I'll just quickly add to that. Another thing that we added recently to this game is zombie apocalypse. It is so much fun. If you have a school, you have to do zombie apocalypse. It is so much fun. The reason why we created it is sometimes the game of the murder game can run a long time and be a bit slow, a bit boring. So we arranged something where you have a bell, and when the bell rings, it's zombie apocalypse time. Oh yeah. So what happens is anybody in the school can decide whether they want to be a part of zombie apocalypse. It only lasts for 10 minutes. And it means you can be a zombie. oh, like this. So sometimes we're having a lesson or something like that, and the whole class are like, come on, let's go be zombies. Yeah. Oh. And then you have to chase around the people who are playing the murder game. It's amazing. I have to tell you once as well, it happened on a visitor's day. So funny. We had like 60 visitors walking around the school, and suddenly everyone starts going, oh! Amazing. But these are all really wonderful things when it comes to social and emotional development, when it comes to kind of working as a community. These social games, actually, I'll move on to the next part for that. But they all add to the sense of community. The value on that is really important. Okay, so running the community. We have a lot of committees all the time. These committees are social committee to organize social games. These committees are Betty's officer. These committees are ombudsmen. Ombudsmen help to solve problems between children instantly. There are older children. And these things are so important to the sense of the school, the sense of community. All of these bits and pieces I've been talking about, the social games and the committees, they all fuel the sense of community. It adds a lot of yellow paint to the pot. So I've just realized I haven't talked to you about yellow paint yet, have I? Sorry. Okay. So I'll just quickly explain. Whenever I talk about Summerhill School, I like to think of it as yellow paint. This is the actual school, I mean. Yellow paint is quite a delicate color. We have lots of children at the school. We have lots of staff at the school. Sometimes things that happen within the community, it can start to add a little bit of a different color, a little bit of blue. Starts to change the sense of community and the value of what the school's doing, starts to change it a little bit to a different color. Sometimes when teachers or adults come to the school, they have their own ideas about education and about what is valuable in education. And sometimes this will start to change things in another way. It'll add a bit of a brown color. It starts to change things into a different way. The important thing is that especially from the management point of view, so from myself and my mother and my brother, that we're always adding a bit more yellow to the paint, to the pot, to keep Summerhill, the foundation of what Summerhill does, true to what it is. I think especially, I'm sure a lot of people who have been involved with democratic education, the whole point is that it's a very organic place. They're schools that have a lot of movement and they've got a lot of opportunity to change around. But sometimes things can sway and sometimes things just need to be pulled back into place. And these are all things, so I'll give you an example of it. Sometimes it becomes a bit of a trend that the Betty's officers are a little bit lazy. Yeah, you got to go to bed. Yeah? Things like that, it starts to lose the solidity of what Summerhill is. And this is really valuable to make sure that, so often people, either us will say, come on guys, you've got to do a big job. You're the Betty's officers, you're the police. You have to make sure everyone goes to bed. These are all elements that feed into the strength of what Summerhill is as a school. Okay. I'm nearly done. So, So the main element of this, Summerhill meetings and boarding, the main element is the nature of cases that come to the meeting. Because children are living there 24 hours a day, there's so many small things all the time that need to come to meetings to make decisions. People often think that at Summerhill, the oldest children's democracy in the world, we must be talking about politics and we must be changing the world and making these huge important decisions. Actually, that's not the case. We're talking about what's important to children, and that's what's important. So, it can be because someone woke me up at night. It can be because someone was using the trampoline for longer than they were allowed to. The meeting process, as I explained earlier, is really simple. It's so that children can control their lives and live and be in charge and feel safe and secure. It's interesting that whilst I've been doing lots of talks about democratic education and visiting other democratic schools, day schools, they're often very surprised that at Summerhill meetings, about 80 to 90% of the pupils come to the meeting. And they don't have to come. It's not compulsory. But they come because it's valuable to them. It's making the decisions for their lives. And this sense of value they have towards the meeting is an essential part of what Summerhill is. And especially the boarding element, it's a really important thing. So we don't have conversation. We don't make decisions about who to employ, or financial decisions, or any big kind of management decisions. All of this stuff, this is why we have the management team, and this is why we have the staff members. It's so that the children can make the decisions about what's important to them. Okay, cool. So that's it. Just to finish off, I just want to read a quote. So this is a quote from a woman who was at Summerhill in the 40s. She wrote, "Summerhill was the most important 5 years of my life. As close to the bone as who your mother and father were, having a round face and being a girl." It's Hilda Sims. Okay, good. So thank you very much. Thank you. So I will just quickly remind you that I will do an open session later on at 3 o'clock for a Q&A. We can talk about things that I've spoken about, or we can talk about anything to do with Summerhill. We can discuss, we can have fun, we can dance, we can be zombies. Oh! Yeah, you want to. Cool. Okay, thank you.
再一次让我们感谢 Henry. Once again, please give an applause to Henry. We will have a recess for 10 minutes. Okay, you can use this time to go to the toilet, and there will be water over there. Okay, if the machine is occupied, the water machine is occupied, on your left, there will be some boxes of water. Okay, you can also use that. So if you need hot water, go to the machine. If you're using cold water, please use the box water as much as possible. Thank you. I'll see you in 10 minutes. The next keynote speech is about to begin. Please be seated. The next keynote speech is about to begin. Please be seated. Okay, once again, let me explain the seating area once again. Okay. Sitting over there. And for this row here, you'll be listening in English. If you're a Chinese listener, 如果听中文的话，请坐这边。Okay. Okay, before we begin, we have more announcement. Hey, Nanako.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nanako. And ここから日本語。皆さん、フォトブックの名前を書いてくれてどうもありがとう。
Thank you for signing up the order of photo books. Thank you very much. Many people sign up.
そして、誰にお金払っていいかわからないというふうに、言われました。それはこの私です。
Many people ask Japanese people, to whom do I pay for the money for the photo book? It's Nanako.
私を見つけたらお金をください。
And please find her and please pay her.
ありがたく受け取ります。そしたら、また次のエピデクやアイデクにつなげることができます。
So this money is a donation for the next democratic conferences.
多分今日申し込んでもらうのが一番良いと思います。明日は時間がないからどうぞ私に声かけてくれてもいいし、インフォメーションの横にあるのに書いて私に、どっちにしても声をかけてください。
So today is the day for up or paying the money because tomorrow may be more busier.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
大家好，我们这几天在 APDEC 有很精彩的体验。那我们希望在这个会议之后呢，能够跟大家有更多的连结，然后在之后还能够持续的分享我们的想法跟资讯。所以我们目前已经做了一个 Facebook 的 group。那我会把这个 Facebook 的网址呢贴在布告栏上，你可以用 QR code 或是输入网址，或是直接在 Facebook 上搜寻 APDEC 加入，欢迎大家的加入，谢谢。We have an excellent experience in APDEC this week. We want to connect people involved and share information and ideas after this event. So we have made a Facebook group. You can search a scan the QR code or type in the internet address or search APDEC on Facebook. Please join in. Thank you.
Good day, everybody. I have had an email from Jim Connor from Whispering Seeds in Myanmar, in Burma, and I want to read it to you. Dear everybody at APDEC, I hope the conference is going well. We just wanted to say hello from Myanmar and sorry that we could not join you. We are all very busy right now, and we're not able to get a group together to attend the conference. We are in the middle of building up one of our Buddhist monastic schools as an eco-temple school, building a bamboo and earth building with help from an Indonesian team of architects and engineers. Unfortunately, this training here in Myanmar is exactly at the same time as APDEC. Many changes Myanmar, but there is still a long way to go. We would love to be involved with how the conference and meetings go, and please keep us in mind that we are interested to stay part of the network, even though we could not join this time. Looking forward to hearing from you. Our thoughts are with you. With metta from Jim. So.
Hello, everyone. I would like to speak in Chinese to describe in more detail, so please help translate. 很高兴大家来到这里。那我很感谢，我是台湾自学家庭。我看到好多外国朋友知道我们 APDEC 这一次在小洲 热心主办之下，费用仍然有很大的差距。60万台币是什么概念呢？一台全新的 Toyota Altis。小周这么热情的来帮我，在这么好的地方，难道我们回去之后想要让他留下一台 Altis 的钱吗？或是我们事实上有200多位朋友报名付费报名的，我们愿不愿意多掏个1000块出来 donate？ 那我们就有20万，可以省下1/3台 Altis。这1000块我们不会有 Peter
Extraordinary degree individual autonomy. Most surprisingly to me, this applies to children as well as to adults. If you're a hunter-gatherer, you don't tell a child what to do. You don't tell your child what to do. In fact, you don't even have the sense that your child is your child. There's, of course, a certain sense, a certain bond that can't be helped. But they would never say this is my child, because that would imply ownership of the child. And nobody can own another human being. The child is the child of the whole band, just as everybody is part of the whole band. An amazingly different conception of childhood than the conception that most of us have. So, one of the things that I asked in my survey, before I get to this, so what does this mean? What is childhood like? One of the things that the anthropologists repeatedly say is that the adults are extraordinarily indulgent towards children. Now, indulgence, at least in America, sounds like a negative term. It sounds like you're sort of giving in a battle of will to the child. But hunter-gatherers don't seem to have battles of will. Somehow they just accept the idea children have their will, and we respect their will. And if a child wants something, then the child should have it. Unless it's something truly dangerous, like poisonous darts. Those would be kept way up in the tree, away from the child. But for the most part, if the child wants something, the child should have it. Now, of course, I'm not saying we can necessarily bring that directly to bear into our culture. You know, they don't have a lot of sweet foods, for example. All the foods are natural and healthy, and so it's a little harder maybe in our culture to say that whatever a child wants, the child should have. I think a better word than indulgent is trusting. They have an extraordinarily trusting view of childhood. They have the view that just as trees grow, just as animals develop, human beings grow and develop from sources within them. We don't have to grow them. We don't have to make them develop. You know, it's interesting to me that our way of talking about parenting makes use of agricultural metaphors. We raise children, right? Like we raise tomatoes. We train children like we train horses, right? Well, hunter-gatherers didn't have agriculture. They didn't raise crops. They didn't train animals. And they didn't have this metaphor to think about raising children or training children. They just had this idea children grow up. And they grow up in their own way, and they find their own way. But we, just like the adults of other animals, we have to sometimes take care of them. We have to nurse them. We have to be nurturant to them. We have to, in some ways, love them and be there for them. But we don't direct them. They direct themselves. That's the attitude of hunter-gatherers. Now, let me read a few quotations just to give you a sense of the way the anthropologists talk about this. So here's one anthropologist. Her name is Yumi Goso. She happens to study a group in South America. But this is from an article in which she's talking about all hunter-gatherers everywhere based on her understanding of them. Hunter-gatherers do not give orders to their children. For example, no adult announces bedtime at night. Children remain around adults until they feel tired and fall asleep. Adults do not interfere with their children's lives. They never beat, scold, or behave aggressively with them, physically or verbally, nor do they offer praise or keep track of their development. It's interesting to me. They don't praise either, because when we're praising, that means we're trying to influence our child in one way. That was a good thing. That kind of implies that not doing that would have been a bad thing, right? Praise is sort of the flip side of criticism, and they don't criticize and they don't praise. Laughter at this stupid